Have you ever felt like nothing excites you anymore? Like the music that once moved you now falls flat? The hobbies you loved feel empty. The food tastes bland, and even being with friends feels hollow. If this sounds familiar, you might think something's wrong with you, that you're depressed, broken, or just burnt out. But what if I told you this isn't a problem at all? What if this feeling is actually the beginning of something profound? Today, we're going to explore why losing joy might be the most important thing that ever happened to you. Let's start by understanding what we usually call joy or pleasure. Most of our daily pleasures are actually just relief. Think about it. You're hungry, then you eat, and you feel pleasure. But notice something crucial. The pleasure depends entirely on the hunger. Without that discomfort, eating is just mechanical. You feel lonely, someone gives you attention, and you feel joy. But that joy only exists because of the loneliness. It's the relief from lack that we mistake for happiness. This is what ancient wisdom traditions have been pointing to for thousands of years. We spend our entire lives in this cycle, wanting, getting brief satisfaction, then wanting again. It's like being hit with a hammer over and over, and calling the moments when it stops happiness. But here, ask the question nobody asks. Why are we being hit with a hammer in the first place? What's happening when nothing brings you joy anymore is this. You're restarting to see through the game. You're recognizing that all these pleasures you've been chasing are really just escapes from discomfort. And once you truly see this pattern, the old joys stop working. The satisfaction disappears because you've realized something profound. You've been creating the itch just to enjoy scratching it. It's like a drug addict who takes drugs to feel good, not realizing that the drug itself creates the need for more drugs. The relief is just the temporary end of withdrawal symptoms caused by the drug in the first place. Once you see this, everything collapses. And this is exactly where you are right now. So now you're stuck in this strange space. The old pleasures don't work. Nothing excites you. You've lost your ability to be distracted from yourself and from the present moment. And this feels like death. Like you've become a ghost just going through the motions. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't an ending, it's a transition. You re-end the gap between the old way of experiencing life and a completely new way that you have undiscovered yet. Imagine living your whole life in a room lit by candlelight. You're fascinated by the dancing shadows on the walls, finding meaning in their patterns. Then suddenly, someone opens a door and bright daylight floods in. At first, the light is blinding. Everything looks washed out. All those fascinating shadows have disappeared. And you think, this is terrible. I've lost everything. But you're not seeing clearly yet. Your eyes haven't adjusted. Once they do, you'll realize you haven't lost anything. You've gained everything. You're seeing reality directly now, not just shadows. But it's a completely different kind of experience. The usual response to this state is to try desperately to get the old joys back. People throw themselves into new hobbies, new relationships, more intense experiences, like someone whose taste buds have dulled trying hotter and hotter spices just to feel something. But this doesn't work. In fact, it makes everything worse. What's really needed isn't more stimulation, it's less. What's needed is to stop running, stop seeking, stop trying to fill the emptiness. What's needed is to simply be with what is, without trying to change it. Here's the extraordinary thing that happens when you stop trying to manufacture joy. You discover something that was always there, but you never noticed because you were too busy chasing pleasures. It's not joy in the old sense. It's more like an okayness, a fundamental sense that everything is all right, exactly as it is. Not that everything is perfect or pleasurable, but that it's complete. It's enough. It doesn't need anything added to it. The old joys were based on contrast: good versus bad, pleasure versus pain, excitement versus boredom. But this new state doesn't depend on contrast. It's there all the time, whether things are going well or poorly, whether you're comfortable or uncomfortable. It's like discovering that you've been running through a house your whole life searching for something, only to realize that what you were looking for was the house itself. It was there all along. You are standing in it. You are it. Now, I need to warn you about something. When I describe this as okayness, you might think it sounds boring. And you're right, it's not exciting in the way the old pleasures were exciting. But here's what you need to understand. Excitement is exhausting. Drama is exhausting. The constant pursuit of peak experiences is exhausting. What happens is you have brief moments of intensity, then long periods of deflation while you wait for the next high. The lows get lower, and you need stronger and stronger stimuli to achieve the same highs. This is the addict's pattern. Most people are addicted to experience, to sensation, to the drama of their own lives. They're constantly generating problems to solve, creating tension to release, stirring up emotions just to feel alive. What you've lost isn't your capacity for joy, it's your addiction to agitation. And like any addict in withdrawal, you feel terrible. But what you're really experiencing is the absence of agitation. And after being agitated for so long, simple rest feels like death. Let me tell you about someone I knew. He was tremendously energetic, always traveling, always pursuing new projects, always collecting experiences. He was proud of this. He thought he was really living, squeezing every drop out of life. Then something shifted. He lost his enthusiasm. Travel bored him. Books couldn't hold his attention. Everything seemed pointless. He became depressed, thinking his life was over. But then, after some time in this state, something changed. One day he was sitting in his garden, doing nothing in particular, and he suddenly realized he was completely content. Not excited, not entertained, just simply present and content. He understood that all his previous rushing around had been a kind of running away. He'd been afraid of this simple being here, so he'd filled his life with constant activity to avoid it. Now that the activity had dropped away, he discovered what he'd been running from. Just this moment, this breath, this being alive. And it was enough, more than enough. It was everything. But, because it wasn't exciting or dramatic, his mind had dismissed it as nothing, as emptiness, as death. This is what you're being invited to discover. Not the ups and downs of pleasure and pain, but something more subtle, more constant, more fundamental. But you can't force this discovery. You can't make it happen. Trying to make it happen is exactly what prevents it, like trying to fall asleep. The harder you try, the more wakeful you become. You have to give up trying. You have to surrender to not knowing, to not feeling, to this apparent emptiness. And this is perhaps the most difficult thing anyone can be asked to do, because we're so afraid of emptiness. We think emptiness is death, meaninglessness, the absence of life. But actually, emptiness is potential. It's the space where something new can emerge. As long as you're full of seeking and striving, there's no room for anything new. You must become empty, not empty in a negative sense, but empty like a bowl is empty, so it can receive. I know this isn't what you wanted to hear. You wanted me to tell you how to get your joy back, how to feel things the way you used to. But I can't tell you that, because what you're experiencing isn't a problem to be solved. It's a transition to be gone through, like a caterpillar dissolving in the cocoon before becoming a butterfly. The caterpillar is finished. It can't go back to being a happy caterpillar. But it's not yet a butterfly, it's just mush. And if the mush could think, it would be quite distressed. You're the mush right now, and I'm telling you this isn't a mistake. This is the process. Stay with it. Don't try to escape. Toys. Don't try to manufacture fake joys to fill the emptiness. Just be with what is. Be with the flatness, the colorlessness, the apparent meaninglessness. Let it be exactly as it is, without trying to fix it or understand it. And gradually, not according to your timetable, but in its own time, something will shift. Not back to the old way, but forward into something new. So what do you actually do while you're in this state? Do what needs to be done. You brush your teeth. You eat your meals. You go about your daily business. But you do it without expecting these activities to make you happy. You do them simply because they're what's here to be done, and you watch. You observe this state without judging it, without trying to change it. You become curious about it, not in a clinical way, but like watching clouds move across the sky. Most importantly, you stop comparing. Stop comparing your current state with how you used to feel. Stop comparing yourself with people who seem happy. Stop comparing this moment with some imagined future when everything will be better. Just be here now, with what is. Perhaps the reason nothing brings you joy anymore is that you've outgrown joy as you knew it. Your consciousness has expanded, and the old containers can no longer hold what you've become. A child is delighted by candy. A young person thrills at romance. A mature person finds satisfaction in accomplishment. But there comes a point when all these things are seen through, recognized as temporary, conditional, ultimately unsatisfying. Then what? Then you're thrown back on existence itself, on the bare fact of being alive, being conscious, being here. And this can seem like nothing compared to the excitement of all those other things. But actually, it's everything. It's the ground from which all those experiences arose. It's what was there before you learned to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And it's not nothing. It's fullness. It's wholeness. It's completion. But it's so simple, so ordinary, so undramatic that the mind overlooks it constantly. What you're being asked to discover is that there is nothing more special than this. This moment, this breath, this simple fact of being alive. Not because it makes you feel good, but because it's real. It's what is. And what is enough. It's always been enough. You just forgot for a while. So when nothing brings you joy anymore, don't despair. You haven't lost your capacity for feeling. You've lost your addiction to a particular kind of feeling. And in that loss, there's an opening. A doorway into a different way of being human. Walk through that doorway. Not by trying to walk through it, but by standing still and discovering that you're already on the other side. You've always been on the other side. You just didn't notice because you were too busy seeking. Now you have nothing to seek, and that's not a loss. That's the greatest gift you could receive.